Okay. Can you put the header on there?
Yep.
Okay. And is everybody ready?
Almost. Yeah, you've got to go full screen.
Okay. You have to have full screen yet.
And just use the button in the bottom corner. That little one next to the slider. I never understood that.
There we go. Okay. Well, what you're going to see this evening is something very different. It's kind of a travelogue for our Canadian neighbors. And you'll find out that their history pretty much is recorded with their coinage. And that's what we're going to see. So if everything goes well, I'll press this button and we'll move on. Obviously, there's Canadian provinces. We'll start with that. Just like the states we have got 50 of them. They've only got about 12 or 13. And what are they? Well, you can see there's some very tiny ones over here. Halifax, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, they're really tiny. And then, of course, the larger ones. And the latest one is the one that is now part of the indigenous people, but they don't call them indigenous there because I can't spell it. So what you call them is here, Canada's First Peoples. That's what they're called. So this part, icy part of Canada, they didn't know what to give, who to give it to, but they give it to the natives. So they have all this place goes all the way up to the Arctic Circle. And it's called Nunavut. And so Nunavut is the latest province in Canada. Okay, we'll move on. And of course, each province has its own flag. The interesting thing is that 4 of those provinces still have the Union Jack. That is their Great Britain's flag. See, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they still are very English over in Canada, at least as far as their flags are concerned. And you'll see the names of those provinces are kind of interesting. I mean, how many places do you know the names? Oh, Brunswick. Oh, that's a neat name. And we'll get to that a little later on. Saskatchewan. That's a nice native name. And we'll move on. So there are symbols of Canada. If you've ever traveled in the West, you know that the Canadian maple is about as big as my hand. It's a huge, big maple leaf. And that becomes an icon for Canada. In addition to that, we have a little ship, a Canadian little trawler, fishing ship, that they almost worship since 1937. It's been on every single dime. Okay, we'll find out more. Here is their coat of arms. The coat of arms is on every single $50. And you can see the different $50, starting with a big crown, and crowns got smaller and smaller. But you can see what they look like over the years. Kind of interesting. Now, this obviously is the English lion. This is the French unicorn. This is England, Scotland, Ireland, and of course, French, and then a little bit of maple leaf in there for Canada. So they've got all those elements in their particular coat of arms. And it's interesting. How about this? They love red. We're going to find out that, more and more about that. But you can see that the Canadian symbol, national colors, and the maple leaf design. You can see it in the coin. And of course, they are not afraid to make their coins look very colorful. Pretty coins, not just silver, not just copper, but lots of colors. Let's take a look. 1921 is when they came up with the idea of having a Canadian flag. And the Canadian flag has got to have a maple leaf on it. And the maple leaf has to be red. Guess what? There are over 500,000 shades of red, but only one appears on the Canadian flag. The exact color and volume was recommended by scientists at the National Research and Council of Canada. They tested it and they found out that this is the one that they wanted. It was the most durable shade. It didn't fade as much as some other reds did. So that's how they got their red flag. Okay, now they're not afraid, again, to show their flag off on their coins. And you can see here in 2005, the anniversary of their first national flag. And it says here that the first one was raised February 15th, 1965, over Parliament Hill. Dollar shown above is a silver proof coin, 63,000 were minted. And that particular one is called selectively gold plated. They don't mind gold plating the coin because they can add at least double or triple the price if it's got a little gold on it. And we'll find out more about that. Okay, how about this? These are things that Canada's proud of. Oh, Canada? I won't sing the whole thing. I'll just sing part of it. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriots love, in all thy sons command, with glowing hearts to save thee rise, the true north strong and free, and stand on guard, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Well, that's enough. Okay, anyway, that's the national flag. Every guy's going to a Canadian football game or a hockey game, that's the one that they sing. Okay, now let's go to the bank. Canada has two great mints. One of them is in Ottawa, the other one is in Winnipeg. And we'll take a look at both of them. They are not afraid to make very fancy boxes and packaging of their coins too. They're just amazing, some of them. So they started in 1908. These are some of the original coins, and or reproduction of the original coins anyway, in 1998. And over here, you see the anniversary of the mint itself. First half dollar, it's right here. There's a reproduction of that particular half dollar. And the box that it came in. Look at this. Fancy box with a three-dimensional image of the mint itself in Ottawa. You can see fancy boxes. Everything they do is got to be very fancy somehow. Okay.
Is that when they first minted coins, 1908?
That was the first half dollar. This is here.
Most of them. They didn't do their own.
Right. Stamp. Here's a stamp. The first half dollar. Let's look at the wooden box presented below. And the effigy, of course, is I don't know what King Edward the 5, 6. Okay. 6, 7. No, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, next. Aha. This is now their other mint. They wanted a different mint, one mint to make all the fancy stuff and one mint to make the circulating coins. So they decided that the one in Manitoba, Winnipeg, would be the one that would make the coins for everyday circulation. And the fancy coins would be made in Ottawa. The building itself is phenomenal. It's triangular, overlooking the river that you can see. And there's somebody that's been there. I mean, that's okay. And it's quite interesting. It's different. And you can see what their coins are. The first, interesting enough, in 1976, an angular mirrored copper glass tower rose over the city of Winnipeg. Manitoba coins minted for circulation can top 15 million a day. The toonie, one of the world's first bimetallic coins, was struck there in 1997. In 2004, the Winnipeg Mint produced the world's first colored coin for circulation. The red enameled poppy 25-cent coin. And then, of course, they just went nuts after that. And a lot of the coins are quote unquote colorized. Okay, move on. How about their coinage? Let's take a look at it. First of all, at least 90% of their coins had the queen on the reverse because they were still part of the Dominion of Canada, or the Dominion of Great Britain. And you can see the queen over the years with a small tiara, and later on, different images of her. And look at the different kinds of ways they have of presenting her. Different levels of silver and background, whatever. It's just amazing. And here's a very interesting one. There's tricolor. It's not just two-colored coins, but three-colored metallic coin. Unbelievable. And here's one that's really different with chains around it. Okay, well, let's move on. It's interesting though. You can see the way she's kind of gotten more mature over the years. You see coins. And by the way, when I collect them, they have to be as many proof as I can get because they look better when I show people like you guys. Okay, the 1 cent coin. Now, Canada never had a penny. The United States never had a penny. Both of us have cents. And the reason that we have a cent is that, well, you all know that we won our battle against the English with the help of the French. And so we based our coinage, our tiny coinage, our first coinage, on the centime, the French cent, centimes. So we have cents ever since. Okay, you can see how it's changed over the years. And the very, very last one, this one's kind of valuable now. 2012 is the very last cent that Canada will ever have. So you're going to be, if you got a Canadian penny, you better put it back in that roll of packages and send it back to the bank. Because you can't use it in Canada. But it is interesting. The different monarchs, starting with Queen Victoria, King George V, George VI, and Queen Elizabeth over the years. And of course, they all have, except for 1 year, the reverse has another symbol of Canada, the maple leaf. During their centennial celebration, when they were 100 years old, they used a number of wildlife on the reverse coins, and we'll see those in a minute. Okay, how about the nickels? Well, the nickels have changed over the years too. Those nickels are steel. They've been picked up with a magnet, covered with some kind of nickel coating over steel. 100% nickel in one time, and now is mostly plated. Let's see, that 2002 celebrated Queen Jubilee. It appears on the obverse, no date on the nickels reverse. Minting was plated steel nickels replaced the copper nickel coins. So now you can pick it up with a magnet. And you can see how they changed over the years. Okay. In Lunenburg, in a place called Nova Scotia, where Doug Borden came from, one of our members, they made this trawler, fishing trawler. And the fishing trawler was very crafty little boat, and it outraced all of the fancy American other vessels. It became one of the fastest, the fleetest of the fleets. This little thing that they called the Blue Nose. Now, the natives of Nova Scotia, because it's cold up there, were called Blue Noses. And that's, of course, what the name of the vessel. They put it on the dime in 1937, and have enough space. So that has become a regular icon for Canada. When you get a Canadian dime, you look at it, and it should have the Blue Nose on it. Except, more recently, Now that the coin itself is 100 years old, they had to do something special. So they made it in two forms. They made it for the collectors, and they made it for the regular circulation.
Cute.
This coin was really neat.
Strange, huh?
As you can see, they have it colorized, and you can see a little blue background on it. And they changed the name. They changed the shape of the blue nose a little bit on that particular coin. So it was really great. Very soon, 2021, the penny was, I'm sorry, the dime was 100 years old. And it's kind of interesting. See that little stamp over there? That's about a $500 stamp. Well, how much would you say it is?
These blue metals, very expensive.
Very, very expensive, just for the coin that you see there, or the stamp that you see there. Okay, well, let's take a look at their currency. Last paper dollars. Notice that particular one's got a little asterisk next to it. That's the same thing as our little asterisk. It's worth more. And that's why I put it up there. And see, no more $1 bills in Canada. Instead, what do we have here? We have a problem. They were all set to produce a new coin to replace the dollar bill. And the truck that contained the die got stolen. So they had to take something off the shelf. And what they took off the shelf had this silly looking animal called a loon. So we now have the loon on every single one of those coins. A very interesting thing, though, of the coins that they had, this was the most counterfeited coin in the world. They just had all kinds of problems. So they had to do something about it. And what they did was put a special mark on it. And that's the mark that you see on there. It's a, what do we call that?
Privy.
Pardon?
Privy mark. Privy.
Privy mark, yes. Thank you. They put a privy mark on it. So all the coins now have privy marks. And you can see the copper ones have the gold privy marks. And they're just, you'll see more of those as I show you more coins. But that's the way they look. They're very hard to put the privy mark on if you're trying to do counterfeit. I never could do it myself. Okay, what about the $2 bill? There's no more $2 bills. They got rid of those. And what did they do? They put one of their favorite Arctic bears, the Canadian Arctic bear, on polar bear on their coins. They just love that. And so now the loon has now become the toon, the loony is now the toonie. So there's the toonie. Okay. And a lot of people carry a lot of those in their pockets because they don't carry $2 bills, they don't carry $1 bills, they carry loonies and toonies. Okay, let's move on. How about the quarters? Well, the very first coin that was colorized was a quarter. And other ones have been quartered ever since. That animal on there, it's not a moose. I think it's not. What's it? Caribou. Thank you. I understand. There's a caribou. Okay, so that's a caribou. And you can see again, they love to put a little color on their coins. Like you can see, these are all quarters, and they love to colorize coins. If they're dull looking, let's just put some red on there. That's, that's our color. We're from Canada, so we're going to make it red. Okay. How about silver dollars? Well, in 1935, first silver dollar was minted in honor of King George V's Golden Jubilee. In 2010, the Royal Canadian Mint struck a full set of silver coins to mark the 75th anniversary. No, they just didn't put a little plastic box. No, they made this fancy wooden box over there. So they're in there, and they're beautifully mounted in there, and you can see what they look like. Again, silver dollar production in 1935. Now, I found out and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but the second largest producer of silver in the world, after Russia, is Canada. So we're making a lot of silver coins. Okay. While the monarch's profile is on the obverse, the reverse design is known as the Voyageur, named for a figure seated in the back of a canoe, shares with a Native American. Bundles in the canoe have the initials HB for the Hudson Bay Company, indicating that the Voyageur is an agent for the Hudson Bay Company. And you see it here. Silver dollars, 80%, so not 90%, 80% silver, 20% copper.
Those lines over the canoe are supposed to be the northern lights too, which is
oh yes.
Kind of interesting.
Let's see, little stripes there. No, it doesn't represent northern lights. Thank you. Now, we talked a little bit about privy marks, and you can see how they had the latest security feature is its bulletin coinage with that little privy mark on there. And yeah, just the emblem, the leaf emblem, leaves everywhere. These were on a $10 coin, $5 coin, $20 coins. They all have maple leaves on it. The $10 coin that you see there represents a whole different method of putting different surfaces on one coin. You see, that's why they look so different, because each surface is different. And today, micro engraved silver and gold colored leafy privy marks mark all this recently minted coins. Okay, let's take a look at banknotes from paper to polymer. And there's the paper, and they honored various fishing fleets, and their different prime ministers were on the coins. They had a whole series. They loved their wildlife, so they had one with just all birds that you can see on there. And that's what the Canadians did with the coins. Okay. Problem with paper is that it wears out. And people in Australia and people in New Zealand said, you know, we're going to go with something called polymer. And Canada said, well, we ought to do that too. So there we are. This is what a Canadian $10 and $20 and $50 bill looks like. They look very different, as you can see. This little gal right here, her name is Desmond. She was from Montreal, and working girl. And I don't know what her story is, but she has quite a story. And they put her countenance on that $10 bill. The Queen was on the $20 bill, and the Prime Minister was on the $50 bill. So you can see what they look like. Again, those are polymer currency. Very different. When you go up there, that's what you're going to find. Okay. It's very inventive when it comes to crafting the images placed on their coinage. Let's see what the invention is. Well, okay. 5 surface finishes on the Canadian coins. There are 5 different ones. Let's take a look at those. Okay, here they are. Brilliant uncirculated, specimen, reverse proof, matte proof. And you can see each one of them shown here in that particular finish on the quarters. And they do make them look different. And of course, some look just like a photograph. And this is almost like a photograph on a coin. Fascinating. And those are not in color. Well, yeah, they're in color. Okay, colorized coins. They love to put coins on, I don't know, I just happen to have a couple of ship coins. I thought I would use to illustrate that. Those are kind of interesting. The 2015 and 2018 watercraft, sailing ships. The very first one in color came with the beginning of a new millennium. The new millennium was 2000, so they used a 2 over a maple leaf. And that became the first colorized coin, 1999. Red colored script 2 shaped ribbon representing the 2000th millennial year. Quarter was part of a 12-month series, with each month having a different theme, from January's Pride tomorrow, today, to December's Community Canada of the World. I'm going to show you all those. But here's another one for the Olympics. Cindy Klassen, and they show her for the Olympics as an ice skater. Now, when you look at the Arctic, it looks all barren and white and cold. Guess what? I know what. Let's put some red. Let's get some red maple leaves and put it over the coin. Won't that make it look better? And that's, of course, what they've done. The Queen Cipher, you can see multicolors on that. That particular one up there, the most recent one, 2022, that cardinal. Again, it has to be a cardinal because the Canadians love red. And we're going to find out more about that. Selectively colored, gold rimmed, and selectively colored plated coinage. There's the flag, and there's the gold rim. Then you can see. And by doing that, you can double the price, putting a little gold in the coins. That's what I'm telling you. Holograms. What about holograms? And you can see this particular ship, the hologram background. It's kind of interesting. And some examples of holograms. Just see what the lightning is behind the CN Tower in Toronto. That they discovered, believe it or not, a mine of diamonds in Canada. And so for that diamond mine, they have a diamond over here, colorized in that 20 diamond. So not only is there silver, abundant silver in Canada, but there's also now a diamond mine there. Well, you knew I had to come to this, right? Canadian sports. Hockey. Sport. Okay. So let's go back if I can. We're going to go back. Yeah. Okay. 1999 first events. The sailing events came in little metal cans. See this particular one is this little box. The first rugby game was played between the University of Toronto, between the Toronto Blue Parkside Canoe Club, playing for the Governors General's Earl Grey's Cup in the 1930s. Rugby was replaced by today's professional football. The Argonauts, the Eskimos, all those. Now, when Canadians joined in the Olympics, they wanted everybody to know about it. So they done only just one particular quarter of it, but those are all the Olympic events, and it's all in the quarters. What a way to market. Phenomenal. And more. These are the large silver pieces for the Olympics in Montreal. Here you see the Olympics for Vancouver. And these are all quarters that circulated in Canada. Again, all in color. Most of the color. Unbelievable. A set of Olympic coins sold by the Canadians in 2009. They had to colorize them. The anniversary of the Stanley Cup. 1893, Lord Stanley was honored to have his name attached to Canada's award the Seasons Hockey Club winner. 1933 marked the 100th anniversary of when the Stanley Cup was first awarded. In 1993, the Royal Canadian Mint produced 88,000 of these annual brilliant uncirculated silver dollars to commemorate the first Stanley Cup presentation. And guess what? We have a place that sells coffee around here. And here's the guy. There he is. His name was Tim Horton. He played for the people in Buffalo. He played for the people in Canada. He was a marvelous player. Very, very great. Just a great place. Oh, these are tees. Both are not tees. These are hockey pucks. And you can get a hockey puck if you have one. And this is one of the cards. Tim Horton himself. Tim Horton opened up a series of little big shops in Canada while he was still playing for the Sabres in Buffalo. If you go to Buffalo today, you'll see a big metallic statue of Tim Horton. He's one of the favorite people. And if you don't believe it, I think there's a Tim Hortons in every corner of Canada. And then also in Buffalo. Okay. Okay, what about the space program? The Canadians had to do something special. They devised this special arm that would lift things out of the shuttle and put them in place. Because your guys just couldn't lift all this stuff. Even though it still may not have as much heaviness, but it has a lot of mass, stuff to move these things around. So they made this thing called Canadian arm. They were so proud of it, they put it on their money. And there it is. This is the Canadian arm with various things that are attached to it so they could help build the space station. They built the space station using that particular arm on the $5 bill. But you probably knew that. Or not. Okay. More. Canadia's legacy in space. For $34.95, you can get a tri-metal, 3 different kinds of metal coin that shows the space shuttle. And this was something kind of special. It was one of the world's first tri-metal Canadian coins in 2019. It's certainly different. Even the Queen looks pretty good there, I guess. Okay. Now, in the year 2000, they had to do something special with the silver dollar. So they showed this millennium coin, silver dollar symbolizing the future lies in space. A crown of lunar phases is placed above a human figure with arms outstretched, is above the space shuttle and the bank of solar panels. And that's what their space coin looks like. And of course, the other one. Over here is the first Canadian, Mark Garneau, who was the first Canadian in space. And they put him on a 25 millimeter coin. This image, where his coin is shown. Okay, one more thing. Look at it. They're able to link the ocean-going ships with the Great Lakes. And they can do that by going through the Long Ship Canal. And it's kind of a neat thing to go by when you're on your way to Toronto and want to do something different. Is to go over to Welland and look at the canal. There, one coin represents the ship canal itself. Huge, big coin with a chain link around the Queen herself, and then 2 trade tokens. An anniversary dollar showing the canal being started in 1829, 4 years after our Erie Canal opened. And the other token sign shows an ocean-going ship through the canal. Okay, holidays. There are holidays that are a little different than ours. Our Veterans Day is one thing, theirs is the Remembrance Day, Liberation Day, or VE Day. And then they have Canada Day is July 1st, when all the banks close. Those are some of them. Do they have coins for those days? Guess what? Yes, they do. And here it is. The very first colored quarter came out in 2004. It was declared the Remembrance Day holiday to honor those Canadians who gave their lives in World War I. The poppy's significance is traced to a Canadian military physician, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, in the poem In Frankel's Field. In Frankel's Field, poppies blow between the crosses, low down roads, marked on place in the sky, along the rock still bravely, sitting by, scarce fur, with the guns below. And I won't go on with it, but it looks like what's happened every year, or every other year, or every few years. They come out with a quarter with a poppy on it. And the poppy began in 2004, 2008, with 2 poppies, 2010, signifying World War II, and the latest one with a large poppy for World War I. And that's the way they honor the Canadian veterans. And then they have a special observance day. Canada, it's $2 coins with the soldiers who are there on this Remembrance Day, D-Day, so the jury D-Day. Here's what the nickel looks like. The big torch of liberty and the big V for victory coming out in 2020. And this is mostly the result. Well, I'll tell you a story. During the Second World War, the Queen of the Netherlands had to leave for her life and was going to go to some kind of shelter in England. But England was being bombed too. So she went to the place called Canada. But she got pregnant and was going to have a baby. Well, guess what? She's now in this hospital room, and they said, "Oh no, you can't have the baby now." Well, why not? Well, because you can only have a baby if you're on living soil. And this is not living soil. Somebody came in and said, "I now proclaim this room to be part of the Netherlands." She had the baby. And as a thank you for that, if you've ever been to our capital of Canada, to Ottawa, in the springtime, she sent thousands and thousands of tulip bulbs to Canada, and they are all over Canada in the springtime, all over, not all over Canada, but all over Ottawa. It's beautiful. Okay. Oh well. I wore glasses and was a little stouter at the time, as you can see. And there's my friend, Canadian Bear. Okay. So what's this got to do with coinage? I'll tell you what. They founded the Northwest Mounted Police in 1873. In 1998, the Canadian Mint struck a silver dollar commemorating the 125th anniversary of mounted police. And they also had one in 1998 depicting a mounted police officer in a 1900s uniform. Canadians. Let's see, it's 125th anniversary. And what does the uniform look like? Well, let's see. Let's see if we can tell that. Oh, there it is. Okay. The top of the uniform is red, the bottom of the uniform is black. Well, red is very, very important in Canada. So obviously, the official Canadian boundary police have to have a red jacket and black trousers, as you can see. And by the way, just something for the kids. Quarters. And guess what? If you go to Toronto, not Toronto, if you go to the capital, Ottawa, they have a football team called the, what's it called? The Rouge, yeah. The Rouge and Noir, the Red Blacks. If you don't think they're Red Blacks, take a look. The Red Blacks, Rouge Noir. Everybody's happy. You know, if you've ever been in Ottawa, you know that on one side of the river, with the canal, is English, and the other side is French. And so when they came up with a name that everybody's going to be happy with for their football team, why not Red Black? After the uniform, after the Canadian uniform. I know it's kind of different. Okay. They treasured their wildlife. There's an eagle on that $20 gold piece, or $20 silver piece. And in Confederation coins, they changed the reverse of the coins, making them very different. The Howling Wolf $50, the Bobcat quarter, the Wild Goose silver dollar, the Hopping Rabbit nickel, the Mackerel dime, the Rock Dove cent, and there you see what they look like. Bobcat quarter. And over here, another creation talking about treasures of Canada. All these are different animals in different parts of Canada that are found there, from the East Coast to the West Coast. Again, they treasure their wildlife. They have it on their coins. Well, yeah, well, guess what? They also like ships. They have a naval and a canoe heritage. So you see the naval heritage here on some of the coins. And if that's not enough, they have a few more. And I love Canadian coins because I get more Canadian ships. And they all come out in proof condition, and some of them with gold rims, some with extra gold plating, whatever. Okay. What about the canoes? There they are. The first Canadian silver dollar, 1935, had a canoe, the Voyageur. And then you can see Toronto in the background with a CN tower, with a native Canadian in a canoe. Here's one with a fine silver canoe, uniquely reflected in the water, and Olympic coins, so on. A lot of canoes. I see 3 people falling asleep. Okay. Okay, hey. That's a little bit of the money, the traditions and symbols that our Canadian neighbors have established just north of our goal. Thank you. That was different.
Thank you. I think some people were a little afraid when Canada was first mentioned, because that could be many, many presentations probably. They're very active. All right, I think, oh, look, we have Susie joined us. Hello.